Cade Cunningham finished with a great game yesterday, 28 points and 8 assists, had a fantastic third quarter. But did he do enough in the fourth quarter for the Detroit Pistons to win this game? And is this something people should be concerned about moving forward? We'll talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Cade Cunningham. You can find me over on Twitter at Cade Cunningham. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit the subscribe button at the YouTube channel, Locked On Pistons. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button at the YouTube channel. My personal one, Cade Cunningham, does drop my film breakdown of the fourth quarter from Pistons loss against Indiana. Make sure you do that. And also, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter introducing the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right into your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with all new free Locked On Pistons newsletter. Also, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started today. So in today's episode, I want to talk about a little later why this was different. There's a lot of talk already in the Pistons community. I'm seeing it, that this is just like last year. They're going to lose games just like this all year, and this was exactly the same thing as last year. I don't think it was. I'll tell you guys why later. And then also later on, we'll preview the upcoming Cavs game. They got a brutal back-to-back coming up this weekend. Friday, they got Cleveland. Saturday, they got Boston at home. That is brutal. But we'll talk about the Cavs game coming up on Friday. But where I want to start with is Cade Cunningham's fourth quarter last night against, or I'm recording this on the 24th, so last night, but on Wednesday, their home opener against Indiana. Everyone knows that Cade finished with 28 points, 8 assists, had probably, I think that third quarter is the best I've ever seen him play. He was chirping back at Bandic Mathurin. He was going right at the dude. He was keeping the Pistons afloat. 8 of 9 in the third quarter, went absolutely insane in that third quarter. However, there's been some talk I'm seeing that did he do enough in the fourth quarter for the Detroit Pistons to win? And is this something to be concerned about moving forward? And you'll probably hear me talk about this. I'm going to dive even further into why I'm not concerned about the team as of right now when we get to the second segment. But with Cade, like I mentioned earlier, I just finished a film breakdown of the entire fourth quarter of why the Pistons, or what went wrong for the Detroit Pistons. If you want to see that, it's a 12-minute video. I posted on my personal YouTube at Kukahila, just posted today. Go check it out. Hit that subscribe button. It's another great way to support me and help me out. I appreciate all of you guys. But just went through and broke it all down. And to give you the numbers, Cade went 1 of 5 in that fourth quarter, or 1 of 6. But the last shot was a fadeaway heave at the end of the game. Like, I don't think anyone's really counting that against them. It's really 1 of 5 that everyone really cares about. He got to the free throw line twice, or he got to the free throw line once, made both the free throws. So he finished with 4 points in that fourth quarter. The talk is, did he do enough? And the simple answer is no. Cade Cunningham did not do enough in that fourth quarter. But I think what really is more important is the why. Why was it not enough? What happened? It's easy to come on here, go in the comment section, tweet it out, say whatever. Easy to come out and say, okay, Cade didn't do enough in the fourth quarter, we lost. Why did it happen? Is it good process? Is it bad process? Is it something you can rely on? Is it a process that you feel good about? Or is he not showing up in the fourth quarter in this game because it was a bad process? Like, why is it happening? So I went through and looked at, again, the whole fourth quarter. I went through with all of his shot attempts. So outside the last heave at the end of the game, the fadeaway 3 he took, he had 2 shots where I'm gonna break down each shot he took. I watched all of them. He had 2 shots that are good shots that he just should make. He usually makes them. He had one wide open one at the top of the key from beyond the arc. I believe it was Siakam or someone baited for or went for a steal, was left at half court, and Cade just walked into a wide open 3. He missed it. He just got hit that one. Like, that's fine process. That's a good shot. You just got to hit it. Okay, so he didn't make that one. The other one that I thought was a good shot that he usually makes, he just missed it. He ran a pick and roll with Stu going to the right wing. Then he re-screened again, went around another pick and roll going to his left and pulled up at the left elbow over Nembhard. Was it a contest? Yes, but Nembhard isn't tall enough to really get a clean contest, and Cade can hit that shot. He hits that probably like 50% of the time. He shoots probably like 51, 52% on those shots. That's a shot you can live with. He got to his spot, elevated over to the defender. We just watched him do it the entire third quarter. He got to a good shot. Good process. That is a good process. He just missed it. Those two are shots that you can live with from Cade. Those are shots not only that you live with, you want Cade shooting. You want Cade to shoot open threes. You want Cade to get to his spot. He just didn't hit them. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. But the process of that, you live with. The other two shots were contested shots by Miles Turner. Or not both Miles Turner. One of them was Miles Turner. The other one was a late end of shot clock forced drive at a tough angle he missed. So on the one with the shot clock at the end of the one he forced up, tough angle he missed on Benedict Mathurin. Now that can speak to, that's something that we saw in the fourth quarter that can be changed moving forward, is that on that possession, they didn't get much going at all. And then you end up with 4 seconds left in the shot clock, 3 seconds left in the shot clock, and then you have to go and try to force something up. You're not getting good process on that possession. You're not getting good process there, and you get what you deserve. Bad process, bad results. What I will say after watching the fourth quarter over again and breaking it down, I feel like the Pistons could have almost the entirety of their offense when Cade came onto the floor. Now, we've talked about it. I broke it down in the video as well. The first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter killed him. I think the first 3 more minutes of the fourth quarter allowed Indy to get back into it. TJ McConnell had 8 points in the first 3 minutes. He was destroying anyone in front of him. He was getting I told you guys before that the Pacers are number 1 in the NBA last year in shots taken in the first 9 seconds of games, or in the first 9 seconds of shot clock. And they had done a good job defending that for the majority of the night until the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. TJ McConnell was just getting shot after shot after shot after shot and was just getting easy shots at the rim. It was terrible. So that the first 3 minutes I thought was really what turned the tide for the Pacers. He wasn't on the floor for that. But when Cade came onto the floor, there was a lot of Cade. When Cade was doing his thing, it was a lot of pick and roll at the top of the key, and how the Pacers were defending it. They were playing high at the level, which high at the level is Cade comes around the screen, and whoever the big is, whoever's involved in the screen, the defender, the screening defender, isn't laid back in the drop. He's not kind of retreating. He's all the way up at the screen, kind of got his hand out trying to guard 2 at once, but he's high enough to where you don't really feel comfortable enough to pull up. They're either very extremely aggressive at the level, or they were just flat out trapping them out of the pick and rolls. Now, the Pistons did try to counter this, which I thought was a good idea. They tried countering this by extending their pick and roll. So, for example, like if you're getting trapped at like the 3-point, exactly at the 3-point line, the court is condensed. It allows defenses to kind of rotate quicker. It allows defenses to really hone in on a smaller section of the court. If you are getting trapped and you extend the pick and roll past the 3-point line, now you're bringing a big man who's probably trapping past the 3-point line, a few feet beyond the 3-point line where he doesn't want to be. It gives the ball handler more space to either go around him or split the double team and take advantage of the big man being a slow-footed defender, which is one of the ways. But also, if they trap and the big man rolls, he's catching the ball at the 3-point line, right, maybe below the 3-point line, and it's way more of the court that the defense has to guard. So I thought that was a good counter. The Pistons just didn't score out of it, which we'll talk about in the second segment, which is why I'm not worried. I thought that was a good counter by JB. He noticed that they were playing aggressive out in the pick and roll. He tried to push it out a little further and try to take advantage that way. They just couldn't. But I thought it was a good adjustment. The other thing I'm trying to get to is that a lot of Cade stuff was just pick and roll. Earlier in the game, in the third quarter, it wasn't just pick and roll. You were getting Cade in the high post area. You were getting Cade in the post area. You were seeing those mid-post isolations. I even tweeted out like Cade Cunningham because he hit like 2 fadeaway post-up shots. Like he was getting the ball at the high post and just shooting over guys. He was backing dudes down, hook shot. Backing dudes down, fadeaway jumper. Backing dudes down, kicking out. Like they were Cade was being utilized. He was the core of every part of the offensive possessions, but it wasn't just pick and roll. There were pick and rolls for sure, and there were isolations, but it was pick and roll, isolations, mid-post isolations, mid-post pick and rolls, DHOs. Like you were getting Cade involved in a multitude of different ways. And I will say in that fourth quarter, it was just heavy pick and roll. And I think a lot of teams in the NBA, it's not just the Pistons, a lot of teams in the NBA, once it gets to closing time, they usually just put the ball in the best player's hands and say, okay, here you go ahead. And you just like give them space usually. It happens a lot. It doesn't happen all the time. Teams that are really good, like Boston, do still a good job of moving the ball. But a lot of teams fall into the give the ball to your best player, just let him try to save you. And I feel like the Pistons did go to a little bit of that. You can still go to Cade. You want Cade taking a lot of shots for you, but it doesn't have to be pick and roll in front of the whole defense when they're playing aggressive in the pick and roll and trying to take him away, which I thought was a big issue. To move on to another one of his shots, that was just a breakdown like that play, end of shot clock, and they did have a few of those possessions because of what I just talked about. The other shot that he had taken was one of those pick and rolls when they extended beyond the three-point line. Miles Turner tried to come up and trap. He split that double team, and it looked like Cade had a step on Miles Turner to the basket, and he went to try to go with the right on or a same foot, same hand finish. If you're going with the same hand, same foot finish because you're trying to get the ball up on the glass quicker. If you're dribbling to the people don't play basketball. Let me go ahead and just explain it for anyone who doesn't understand. You're going to the rim. If you go, usually right hand, you go off your left foot. But it allows defenses to kind of track where you're going, track your footsteps, and know when you're going up. So they can kind of time it. Also, you have to take an extra step to, get to the rim, and it allows guys to catch up. If you're going with the same hand, same foot, because you're trying to catch them off guard with some unique footwork, you're trying to go up before the left foot lands, and it usually catches them off guard. Also, you get the ball up on the rim quicker. You just scoop it. It's like the scoop layup. You're just scooping it off the same foot. It's a difficult finish, but it's a very quick and skillful finish. And Cade tried to do that against Miles Turner, and Miles Turner just made a hell of a play, I thought. He retreated, a really good rim protector, made a play from behind and blocked it before it got up on the glass. On that play, I think Cade had a kick out to the left corner to THJ. Tyrese Halliburton was kind of just in no man's land. I know he felt like he beat Miles Turner, and honestly, you kind of give more credit to Miles Turner on that play because Cade, it looked open. I thought he had a layup, and Miles Turner just swatted it. However, you can say he should have been aware of that, and Tyrese was kind of in no man's land, and THJ was wide open in the left corner. So you could say that process wasn't the best. Overall, after evaluating all of his shots and how he played in the fourth quarter, where I arrive at is this. I'm not concerned about Cade in the fourth quarter because I think the process of a lot of his shots were fine. I think the process that they got to with his shots mostly was fine. However, I will say something that I think they should do moving forward with Cade. If you want Cade leading your shots, which I think everyone does in the fourth quarter, it shouldn't just be pick and roll. Get him in the mid-post where he's shooting over smaller guards like he was in the third quarter. Get him in the mid-post pick and roll. Get him in the mid-post DHO. Let him isolate from the high post. Do different things. He can still do the pick and roll, but do other things involving Cade to where it's not the same thing every time on defense, especially because Indiana just got comfortable trapping him. That's really what happened in the fourth quarter. They didn't have to play different defenses. They just really got comfortable trapping and playing high at the level and kind of forcing him into shots that they wanted him to take. And on possessions he didn't take the shot. Actually, you know what? I want to stop it right there because I'm kind of getting to where I want to talk about in this second segment. So, am I worried about Cade's fourth quarter? No, because I think he just needs to hit shots that he normally makes. Like, it was the first game of the year. He played exceptional in the third quarter. Probably the best quarter we've ever seen him play. That fourth quarter, he took shots that he normally makes. He'll hit them another time. If he was taking shots that were bad and kind of forcing stuff up and it was great defense and he's just, being clamped up, then I think you can be concerned. But I don't think that really happened much in the fourth quarter. I think he just missed some shots that he usually makes. So I'm not really concerned about it. But let me know in the comment section down below. Go check out my film breakdown so you guys can get a clearer view of what I'm talking about at Kuka Hill. But when we come back, I want to talk about why this game is different and not the same as previous years, or especially last year when it comes to losing a late game in the fourth quarter. I think this year, or at least let me not say this year, but this game was different than last year. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. You can now win 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is the best way to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Want to play PrizePicks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community. PrizePicks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. It is Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 line. Let me say that one again a little bit more clear for you. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Go subscribe to the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter. Had a few of you guys reach out to me and tell me how much you guys loved it. I appreciate it. I'm happy you guys enjoy it. For those of you guys who haven't subscribed to it, good early responses to it. I think you guys will really enjoy getting that daily content as well. So go check that out. Subscribe. I'll put the link in the comment section down below. Or you can also see it at lockedondaily.com. Type in your email and you'll get Locked On Pistons daily newsletter for free. Also, subscribe to the personal YouTube channel. You'll get these film breakdowns out there every single Pistons game, breaking down either my favorite plays or what went wrong with the Pistons in that specific game. Now, I want to talk about why I thought this game was different. I guess I should have I didn't want to keep going with that for a second. I was going a little long. But I guess the cherry on top of that segment is Cade deserves criticism for not hitting shots that he usually makes in that fourth quarter. Like, he deserves criticism. He has to hit those shots. They need him to hit those shots if they're going to win games. He deserves criticism for that. If you want to criticize Cade for saying, look, you need to hit those shots. We need you to hit those shots at the end of the game that you usually make. If you don't, we're going to lose. That's a fair criticism. He has to hit those shots. But I thought the process is there, and good process usually leads to good results. If you guys have been listening to the podcast for years, you guys know I'm a big believer in good process will eventually lead to good results. So I like the process, which leads me into why I believe this is different. This game was different than last year for this reason. Defensively, okay, I get it. Defensively, I can understand why you may say this was the same as last year. That was the main focus of my film breakdown I did on my YouTube. Defensively, I'm going to go to the grave. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone just wants to look at the 19 points scored in the fourth quarter. It wasn't the offense that lost them that game. It was the defense. The Pistons allowed the Indiana Pacers to score a 132-point pace in the second half. They allowed Bennedict Mathurin, after holding them to 5 through the first 3 quarters, to score 14 on 3 shots. 14 on 3 shots in the fourth quarter. If you watch my breakdown of the fourth quarter, I went over almost every offensive possession really for the Pacers at the end of this game. And each possession, the Pistons had breakdown after breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. They let themselves down defensively. That's where they lost this game. Indiana got easy shot early in the shot clock, easy shot in the half court from mental mistakes, miscommunications, and just breakdowns defensively. That lost the Pistons the game. So if you want to say defensively it's the same, it was the same, fair. However, I'm not reading too much into that being like the same. I'm not really considering it the same because I've told you guys I don't think there's a lot of defensive personnel in this roster. And they don't have a Sar right now who's their best defender. So I'm not really expecting them to be good. So seeing them not, break down defensively, like, that's not shocking to me. That's not, oh, we thought this was going to be a lot different. What happened? It's not really too crazy different to me. Like, I kind of expected this to happen. Like, I'm not comparing it to last year. I'm just looking at the personnel and saying, oh, yeah, they don't got great defensive personnel. Yeah, they're probably going to struggle at times defensively. So that wasn't shocking to me. The miscommunications were pretty disappointing. They were. Go watch the breakdown, but the breakdowns were pretty disappointing. But the reason why I don't think this is the same and this is different is because the process offensively is much better than it was last year. Just to make it super clear, the Pistons lost a lot of games last year. And if you watched games last year, you know this. I watched every single game. I covered every single game last year for the Pistons. I've covered every game of this Pistons team for the last 5 years, okay? They lost games this past year because either 1, they just weren't good. 2, they just got out-schemed. Or 3, they just started having bad process. They do some good things, and then they just start doing dumb things that didn't make any sense. They started forcing up bad shots. You had bad players taking shots. It just wasn't good process for a lot of their games. It wasn't like they were doing the right things and Monty's putting them in the right positions and they're just not doing well. No, that wasn't the case last year. It was bad process leading to bad results almost all the time. In this fourth quarter, I know this is good. People aren't going to probably like to hear this because it feels like an excuse, but it just is what it is. They just went cold. I don't know what else to say to you. They just went cold. Go watch all their shots. They took 20 shots in the fourth quarter. Go watch all their shots. They generated open three after open three, generated good shots for everyone. Jaden Ivey took 5 shots in this fourth quarter. He made 2 of them. 3 of the other ones, I'm sure he feels like he should have made. Cade took 6 shots outside the final one that was a heave. I'm sure Cade feels like every other one of those shots he probably should have made. Outside the rushed one at the shot clock over Ben Mathurin, I'm sure he probably wishes he could have had that one back and maybe tried to set up something a little earlier in the shot clock. Outside of that, I'm sure he feels like he should have made all those. Malik Beasley took 3 shots. I'm sure he feels like every shot that Malik Beasley took in that fourth quarter, he should have made it. Tobias Harris went 0 of 3 in the fourth quarter. All of them were threes. They were all wide open corner threes. Like, I'm sure he feels like he should have made those. Isaiah Stewart, you got Stu a wide open corner 3. I'm sure you feel like you should have made that. Simone Fontecchio, I believe his only shot was on a putback. Like, you expect that to go. Like, they had good process. It was not like last year when they were taking bad shots and forcing bad shots for bad players. It's not like Killian Hayes was taking these shots. It wasn't like you're generating corner threes for Asar Thompson. Like, that's not what was happening. There was to give you a good idea, and really you should feel better about this with JB Bickerstaff because he impressed me. There was a possession, or I'd say about minute 30 left. I believe it was about minute 20 left, actually. The Pacers had just scored, and the broadcast goes to JB, and JB says, quick. You can read his lips. He says, quick something. So he's calling a play that's a quick action. So basically, he's trying to run a play that is early, 8 seconds of shot clock. Let's get it up. He wants to get a shot up quickly. So what they do is, and I explained this on yesterday's episode, what they do is Cade rushes up the right sideline. He throws it up to Malik Beasley. He immediately chases. They have a chase action. So chase action is when you throw the ball and you chase after wherever you threw the ball. So if you throw it at the high post, you're chasing. If you throw it to the wing, you're chasing that action. And then you're doing a DHO there. Either a DHO, sometimes people do a screen into it and you back screen. There's different things you can do off it. But they did a chase DHO. So Cade throws it to Malik Beasley at the right wing and he chases it, DHO. Cade turns the corner, immediate advantage created. Immediate advantage created in the half court. 3 guys swarm to the paint. Cade goes up, holds it in the air, reads the weak side. You got Benedict Mathurin trying to guard 2 on the weak side. You got Tobias and Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey's at the wing. Tobias is at the corner. Cade holds in there, tries to read who Benedict Mathurin's going to. He throws it to Jaden Ivey at the wing. Benedict Mathurin converts to him. Jaden Ivey swings to Tobias Harris in the left corner for a wide open 3. I believe this one was to tie the game, and Tobias just misses it. That is good process. That is not what you were seeing last year. That was good spacing principles. It was a really good play called by JB Bickerstaff, and you just missed the shot. You just missed the shot. There was another play. Cade drove baseline, kicked it out to Isaiah Stewart in the corner. Isaiah Stewart did a pump fake or a fake pass to the right wing, took it back and hit a shot an open corner 3. He just missed it. Malik Beasley gets an open wing 3. He misses it. Like, you are getting good process. You are generating open 3s, which is why I don't feel like the offense lost them this game. Defensively, they had mental breakdowns. They had multiple possessions back to back to back to back to back of bad process. Bad process defensive possessions. Offensively, they were generating good shots. They were generating the right type of shots that you wanted. You were getting Cade shots at the high post. You got Cade an open 3. That one wasn't really anything the Pistons did. They kind of just, Pacers gave up on a possession, I guess. But Cade got open top of the key 3. You got Jaden Ivey, 2 pull-up shots. I think a lot of fans probably are okay with him taking them. And he was relatively open on both of them. Just missed them. Tobias Harris took 3 threes. All 3 of them he should have made. I'm sure Tobias after the game is saying to himself, I should have made all 3 of those. Because they all were good looks. Isaiah Stewart, they generated open corner 3 for him. A good look. Malik Beasley missed an open 3 that he feels like he probably should have made. And then he missed a runner right in front of the rim that rimmed out. That maybe was the only shot I would say that I felt like was a little bit of a force. But it wasn't like it was a bad miss. It was a tough luck miss. It rimmed out. But yeah, you probably don't want Malik Beasley driving into floaters. Fair enough. That's probably the one possession, the one shot that I can sit there and say, yeah, you could probably got something better out of that. Outside of that, they didn't turn the ball over a lot. They only turned it over twice in the fourth quarter. It wasn't like they turned it over 6 times and they were getting out in transition. They didn't turn the ball over. They got open shots. They just weren't making them. So I can live with that. I think the coaching staff, and that's something that JB talked about after the game, you can live with that. If you are generating the shots that you want, you are generating good open shots, and you just went cold. I mean, it is what it is. That's why you play another end of the floor. You generate good open shots. You assume you're eventually going to make them. If you don't, it is what it is. You get back down and play defense, and you buckle down. You don't miss open shots, get good shots offensively, and then go down to the defensive end and have breakdown after breakdown after breakdown after breakdown, and then try to say, well, the offense lost us the game. No, the offense didn't lose you the game. You got open shots. You got the shots you wanted. They just weren't going down for a stretch. Go down the other end and don't have mental breakdowns. That's all that happened in the fourth quarter. So that's why I think this is different than last year. Last year, they weren't generating good looks offensively. It was tough spacing. It was bad. In that fourth quarter, they generated good shots. They just went cold. I don't think anyone thinks that Tobias Harris is going to go, what was he, like 0 of 4.5? I don't think anyone thinks that Malik Beasley is going to go, 1 of 6 in the second half. Like, I don't think people don't think that that's going to happen. That's not going to happen every single game. So you can live with that. I think that's different. That's not the same as last year. This was different. They generated good shots, and if they do that every game, good process will lead to good results. You continue to run that good process, you will see different results. Just give it a minute. But that's why I think this is different, man. This was not the same as last year. It just wasn't. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter @KukaHill. How you guys feel about this? Do you guys feel like this is different? Do you not feel like it's different? Let me know. Coming up, just want to give a quick preview of the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers coming up on Friday. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more in the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started at $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Like I've told you guys many times before, a few years ago when betting became legal in Michigan, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to try out. Didn't know anything about this. I went and tried out FanDuel, and I have not turned back since. It's super easy to use, super self-explanatory, but most importantly, super fun to use. I still use it almost every Monday night. I'm sure you understand why. Every Thursday night. I'm sure you understand why. And every Sunday afternoon. I'm sure you understand why, especially during football season. Obvious. So go ahead and check out FanDuel. You'll get started $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. I promise you, extremely fun to use and super self-explanatory. My goodness. That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel @Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So this upcoming game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, there's a few things that I'm really watching for. Number one, what I'm watching for is if that good process that I just spent, 11, 12 minutes talking about, do they carry that over each game? Because I'm not going to lie to you, JB has really impressed me on the offensive end at times throughout preseason and this first game. I really like, and I think a lot of it just has to do with having spacing now on your roster. Like you can run lineups that have 4 spacers, 3 spacers, and a roll threat. I think it has a lot to do with that. But if they can just generate good shots within the half court, if that process continues to carry over, like I said in the last segment, good results will eventually happen. And that's where the Pistons have to start. The Pistons were a team last year that had bad process almost the entire time of the year. So continue to see if they have good process. Can they string along game after game after game of playing the right way and generating the right looks? That will say big things about the difference between this team and last year's team, and they will be a lot better because of it. So that's what I'm watching. I want to see if they can string multiple games in a row of doing that. That's first. Second, what I'm really watching for is something we talked about in the preseason. The Pistons oftentimes against Cleveland went double big versus their double big. And if you've been a listener of the podcast over the last few years, you guys know I've never agreed with that. I don't really understand why. Because the reason why Cleveland can go double big is because, one, both of them are defensive monsters, and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, like legitimately both of them could be defensive player of the year talents. Like that's how good they are defensively. And then secondly, Evan Mobley is extremely skillful at the 4 position. He's not a 5 that you're forcing to play a 4. He's a guy that can play the 4 and the 5 because of how skillful he is. That's why he was a top pick in Cade's draft. Okay? So that's why you're able to run the double big versus them. Just running 2 big guys that don't nearly reflect the same skill set or can hang skill set wise with those 2 bigs, all that's doing is giving you putting up 2 worse players against their 2 better players, and then also playing stylistically into their hands. Because all that allows them to do is you let Mobley and Allen hang around the paint and just destroy the paint. Just lock down the paint. There's nothing there. Because they're not going to respect Stu from beyond the arc. They think they can get a late contest on Stu, like they did at all times last year. We can just get a late contest on that. 2 years ago, we can just get a late contest on that. If he's going to drain 40% this game, I mean, it is what it is. But we'll get a late contest and we'll live with it. And he's not going to drive and kick on us. He's not going to wow us with, ball handling. So they just kind of patrolled the paint and locked that down, and the Pistons would get destroyed. I never agreed with that idea. However, the roster never really had an actual power forward on the roster. They never really had a forward over the last few years since they got rid of Jeremy Grant. Now they got Tobias Harris. And you got a preview of it in preseason when they went Duren and Tobias instead of Duren and a Stu. You saw the difference. Evan Mobley in that preseason game was being stretched out, wasn't allowed to patrol the paint. That actually was the second breakdown I did on my YouTube channel on Kuka Hill's. It's at Kuka Hill on YouTube. That's literally the second breakdown I did, just going over that Cleveland game and how having Tobias at the 4 is going to change how they can attack Cleveland. So go watch that. You'll get a visual representation of what I'm talking about. But I mean, it just pulls Evan Mobley away from the basket. He doesn't really want to do that. It allows Tobias, if he's going to give him a late contest, Tobias will mostly drain those shots. You give Tobias an open corner 3, he's mostly going to drain those shots. And if you try to get a late contest on him, he'll drive the closeout and get to the rim or into a pull-up midi. Like, it puts the Cavs in a bend that they don't want to be in. They want to dominate the paint. They don't want to have to do that. So that's what I'm watching for in this game. I want to see if the Pistons having Tobias and being able to run 4 spacers on the floor with Duren instead of running 3 spacers and 2 guys that can't shoot, if that gives them a better chance versus the Cavs. I think that's the way you beat the Cavs. I don't think you beat the Cavs by out double bigging them. That's not how you beat them, unless you're Boston and you can run I don't know if you really even call them double bigs actually anymore. With KP, yeah, but KP's not hurt or not available right now. But with KP, Boston can run Al Horford and KP. Yeah, you can do that. KP is extremely talented. So when you do that, and he can shoot, so he's spacing the floor still. So you're still getting the best of both worlds. But my overall point is you can't out double big Cleveland. You got to spread them out. You got to space them out and make them guard on the perimeter because they don't really want to do that. They want to just shut down the paint. I don't feel like the Pistons had the personnel the last few years to do that. I think they do now. So that should give the Pistons a better chance against the Cavs in this game. Also, the backcourt's going to have to hold their own against Cleveland's backcourt. I mean, that's one of the best backcourts in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell, Darius, Garland. You got to hold your own there. You absolutely have to hold their own. Jaden Ivey and Cade have to do their part against that matchup. They can't get absolutely outplayed by that backcourt. So that's the 2, or I guess that's 3 things I'm really watching for in this game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter. What are you guys looking forward to? But that's all I've got for you guys today. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel, Locked On Pistons. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Subscribe to the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter. I'm telling you, it's free and you guys will love it. Already got some good early responses. LockedOnDaily.com. Type in your email. You'll get a newsletter every single day along with the podcast. More content coming from me. Along with that, you get another source of content from me at Kuka Hill on YouTube. Subscribe there. You get film breakdowns after every single Pistons game. I'm doing a lot for you guys, giving you guys a lot of content. Go hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace out.